Now, Anthony Albanese has come out swinging against accusations. He accepted tens of thousands of dollars in Qantas upgrade freebies. The opposition today calling for a Senate inquiry as pressure on the PM intensifies.
There's no accusation being made with any specifics at all about any of this. None.
The PM today in damage control over the Qantas upgrade saga. That's been gathering steam.
He was Transport Minister and he picked the phone up to the CEO of Qantas to get upgrades. This is an issue that Mr Albanese needs to explain, and he's not coherent.
If he wants to clear his name, if he thinks he's got nothing to hide, then get out here and tell us the truth. Get it on the record.
Anthony Albanese accused of soliciting upgrades from then Qantas CEO Alan Joyce, including at least 22 on economy tickets, some on personal holidays to Honolulu, Europe and LA during his time as Transport Minister.
I think this has been a complete pile-on the Prime Minister. I mean, he's publicly declared very, very clearly what he has been gifted.
Albanese today declaring an additional 8 upgrades as he lashed out.
I'm far from being the most frequent person of being upgraded. Paul Fletcher's been upgraded at least 69 times. I don't have access to a private jet on call, which has happened with Mr Dutton.
The bombshell accusations stem from a new book, The Chairman's Lounge, titled after the invite-only Qantas lounge the PM and many other pollies enjoy access to.
If Anthony Albanese had to repay all of the free tickets he'd taken as a politician, he'd have to file for personal bankruptcy. Politicians need to realise that Australians have had enough.
Prompting questions around whether the perks could have led to favourable treatment of Qantas.
There would be more competition in the market if Mr Albanese had taken a decision not to side with Qantas through allowing Qatar in.
He was regulating the airline industry, so he had a lot of personal discretion over airline policy and things that affected the airlines.
The person who is trying to sell a book, and fair enough, I don't see declarations that he's a former Liberal Party staffer.
So do Albanese's freebies pass the pub test?
They've got enough money in their pockets, I believe.
I don't think it's entirely unusual. After all, he is the PM.
They shouldn't really be getting more freebies than any of us.
If he can get a free upgrade, I think he deserves it.
Paul Sakal is the political reporter for The Age and Sydney Morning Herald. Paul, Albo was pretty fiery in that press conference. Was that the right approach, do you think?
Well, him and his office clearly thought that today was the time to go on the attack as the best form of defence, which I think proves that he's under pretty significant pressure on this. He came out with all guns blazing. One gun was pointed in the direction of Peter Dutton, who he accused of getting on the plane of Gina Rinehart, the mining magnate, which is true. And the other gun was pointed in the direction of Joe Aston, the award-winning journalist who has revealed this information about Alan Joyce and the Prime Minister in his new book. He accused Joe Aston of being a kind of secret Liberal Party member and not disclosing the fact that he used to work for the Liberal Party. That's actually not right. It's in the first page of Joe Aston's book where he mentions that.
OK, so where's the line here? What specifically has he done that could be problematic?
Well, I think that most people in the public know politicians receive upgrades on flights. They're on the special VIP list in airlines. But the Prime Minister, he's alleged to have been seeking these upgrades from the CEO of Qantas at the time. Albanese is the Transport Minister and therefore making decisions in the domain of Qantas. And that's the key point of differentiation, is that the Prime Minister was the Transport Minister at the time. He's not the Prime Minister, he's not, for example, the Education Minister taking a racing ticket from Tabcorp.
Hey, Paul, has Albo responded to those specific claims about how he got the upgrades and whether he initiated the requests from them?
He's been murky on this. He addressed this today and said that he could recall 2 occasions when he spoke to the Qantas CEO, Alan Joyce, but they were pertaining to flights that are not the key subject of discussion. The key focal point of this debate is 3 or 4 family holidays that the Prime Minister took at the start of last decade, where he is alleged to have sought the upgrades from Alan Joyce. He's not addressed those in a specific manner, and he's not either confirmed or denied that he made those calls to Alan Joyce.
Gee, it's been a rough couple of weeks for Albo, hasn't it? I mean, first the Mansion debacle and now this. Do you think this kind of press will hurt Albo?
Yeah, well, to put it into a broader picture of where the government's at, they spent the second year of their government in 2023 quite heavily focused on the voice referendum, which was an absolute disaster for them. So this year, they've really tried to be on message and talk only about cost of living and only about the economy. But in the last few weeks, the Prime Minister's own personal judgment has dragged them down. And as you say, there's the question over his decision-making on the purchase of the house, which was seen by critics as out of touch, but there is split opinion on that. And then here, this kind of historic question about his decision-making over soliciting gifts. And the opposition's line today from Peter Dutton, he said it 2 or 3 times, is that this is a Prime Minister who doesn't care about people and is only focused about what he can get from the system. So that's a potent line that the opposition is kind of building up as each of these stories comes out.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for being so clear on that. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.